Hi, this is Tom from Tom and Ruth Philippine Adventures. Today I want to talk about something that has happened, and sometimes you find yourself in a situation where you're an expat living in a different country, whether it might be, it doesn't really matter, you're still an expat, you're a foreigner. Something you have to be aware of, you do have to have some type of exit plan to plan for you leaving. So for an example, say for instance an emergency happens at home, your mother, father, aunt, uncle, somebody is sick, or maybe your son, daughter. So you have to go back to America or Australia or somewhere. You want to be able to have some type of availability to buy a ticket. Recently, a foreigner in the Philippines, it's another expat, he's here in the Philippines, I think he's up in Bohol, put a shout out about a gentleman, a Canadian, that has been here for quite a while, and I really don't know all the particulars. He's told a little, but he didn't tell all. But you can find this information on a foreigner in the Philippines. It's about him and his wife helping people. It's a pretty good site. I commented on the site, and it was talking about a Canadian got himself in trouble, had no money, couldn't get back home. So they did a shout out to someone to help him. Recently, a couple of Canadians came to his aid and got him a one-way ticket back to Canada, 17,000 peso, which is $300, $325, $350, depending according on the market. So say you get a ticket for someone for $300. The guy spent all his money. He was living in someone's house out in the country. He had no money. So you don't want to get in a situation where you're in bad situation where you have no money, you have nothing. You should always have something. Now, another thing you got to look at too here in the Philippines is the banking system it's not really, it's can be untrustworthy. People say, oh, they don't have problems, but PNB, Metro Bank, BDO, some of the main branches here have problems where people actually steal the guy's money. If you don't have activity in your account at BDO within a certain period of time, whether it's 3,000, 5,000 peso, $100, $200, it's gone. So you have to be do your due diligence and be aware of everything that goes on all the time. Recently, a guy put money in the bank, transferred it from his Canadian bank here to the Philippines, and went to the bank to get the money, and the money was not there. Come to find out, it was an internal job, but then you have to prove it. Then you have to get out the tapes and all the videos. The bank opened up new accounts for him, did all that stuff, but he's still out $1,000 because he sent $1,000 from Canada here. And you got to be careful how much you send. Whether you send it Western Union, send Value. There's many companies out there that MoneyGram you can send money to, but then you have to be careful with them also, because Western Union, there's recently a case where someone actually took $5,000 from someone that sent from USA to here in the Philippines, 5,000 US, and the people here in the Philippines actually took the money. And they had the code, they have everything, and the lady behind the counter can actually take the money. You believe it or not, they can actually, there's protocol and things they have to follow. Now, eventually, I think Western Union did give their money back. I've reading articles on it, trying to find out, but they really don't tell you what they do and what they don't do. So you just have to be aware when you do send money, things like that, and be aware that when you do come, have a exit strategy. People say, oh, you need 25,000, you need all this money. You don't. All you need is a ticket back home or some cash available here that you can grab onto, whether it's $200 or $500 that you can grab onto, get you to the airport, get you on a plane, buy a ticket, credit card, get you back to U.S. If you have a situation where you doctor, okay, I understand. You probably need anywhere from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,000. Some people want $10,000 in the bank for emergencies like that. Now they say 10,000, but I have many friends here. I live in month to month. They could come up with $3,000 in the bank if they're lucky, but they have an escape strategy. They have what they call an emergency fund of a couple thousand that they can easily access at any time, and they can grab and go back to U.S. For me personally, I have an exit strategy if something happens to someone, like I just recently had to go back to USA because my mother passed. So I had an exit strategy really fast. I got a ticket within 3 days. I was there back in America. So you have to plan things like that and have a little extra. A lot of people get mad at me because I say, oh, you don't need no $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. If you have friends and family, if you have $4,000 or $5,000, you can easily get access back to the United States. You probably want at least $3,000 to $5,000 always available to yourself. You really want more. I want to get a lot of comments on this where the people say, oh, you need 25, you need 30,000. You really don't. You need access to 25 or 30,000 maybe sometimes. A lot of expats come over here that's 70, 80 years old, and they get sick in a doctor and it costs them $5,000, $10,000 US dollars to get well and get back. But luckily a lot have insurance and things like that, so you have to be prepared for that also. But I say, for me personally, you have an exit strategy. I have an exit strategy, so if I need to leave, I can leave. I could be on a plane within 24 hours and back in U.S. in 2-3 days, you know. So you just have to plan it out. You have to be prepared, excuse me, if something does happen. But the expat that's Canadian had nothing, didn't even have $300 to get himself out. That's a bad situation. And he does not have income. He had no Social Security that came in every month to help him out. So, I mean, you know as well as I do, I depend on Social Security. If I do lose my Social Security 1 month, sure, it affects me. But you have to be prepared for that. If you don't send in your drop dead letter or things like that, that can affect you because they'll stop payment on that. And I had that happen to me where I didn't send in the form and they stopped. I didn't get my February payment. Luckily, the lady in Manila, she brushed it through and I got my payment within 3 to 5 days. And it was fine. So you just have to be prepared for stuff like that. Just always be prepared, be aware. It's like when you get in the car, you got to make sure you have gas. You got to make sure there's oil in the car. Same thing here. You got to make sure that you have funds available and that you be aware of your environment, where you're at and what you're doing. And even in America, as you know, I mean, I lived in Daytona and traveled to Miami, all over the place. You had to be aware of the gangs and everything else, and what streets you went down and what streets you did not go down. And I worked the whole state of Florida, and I did night work, and I worked nights. So that's another story. That's a long story there on what I used to do. And you see everything, but I feel safer here than I do in America. Thank you for watching. Please hit subscribe.